In your language, you can make people laugh. You can argue. You can be interesting. And in English, you understand everything, but when you open your mouth, the words disappear.
That is the exact feeling. I get it all. I just cannot say it back.
And here's what nobody tells you. That gap is not a failure. It is proof that your brain learned the right thing first.
Wait, so I am not broken?
You are not broken. You just trained one skill and expected another to grow. Today, we fix that.
If this sounds like you put us on while you get ready, making coffee, folding laundry, just listen.
The words are already in your head. We just need to unlock them.
Okay, I am in. Let's go.
Hello, English learners. Welcome back to the Two English Mugs podcast, your cozy corner to practice English through real, natural conversations. I'm Emma.
And I'm Josh, the guy who thought understanding was enough. Turns out, there's a difference between knowing a word and actually being able to use it.
This episode's B1 level, intermediate English. But if you're a beginner, you're completely welcome here, too.
We go slow. And if a hard word comes up, we explain it right there on the go. No pressure.
So, before we get into the actual techniques for unlocking your speaking, I have to ask you something. Have you ever tried to learn something brand new just by watching it happen?
Oh, all the time. And it usually ends terribly for me. Like a few years ago, I decided I was going to learn how to play the guitar.
Oh, wow. Really? How did that go?
Well, I went online and found these incredible video tutorials, and I watched hours and hours of these close-ups of people's hands. I memorized the theory, you know?
Yeah.
I knew exactly where the fingers were supposed to go on the strings.
I can already see where this is going. What happened when you finally bought a guitar and sat down to play it?
It was an absolute disaster. I mean, I could not play a single chord. My brain knew all the theory perfectly, but my hands had never been invited to the meeting.
Wait, I love that. Invited to the meeting. Just so everyone follows, when we say someone or something is invited to the meeting, it's just a playful idiom that means they were actually included in the practice process.
Exactly. My hands had never practiced the physical movements, so they just froze.
That is a phenomenal example because it perfectly illustrates the whole concept of input and output. Let's actually define those really quickly. Input is the information you absorb from the outside world, like listening to a show, reading a book, or, watching a guitar tutorial.
Right. And output is what you physically create yourself, like speaking, writing, or actually strumming the guitar.
And the fundamental problem for language learners is that their daily routine is like 99% input. They wake up, they listen to an English audio track on the train, read emails at work, watch an American movie at night. The input is massive.
But the output is basically zero.
Exactly zero. They get all this amazing input, but when it is their turn to speak in a real conversation, their mouths just sit there frozen, exactly like your hands on the guitar.
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
Oh, really quick, before we break down the mechanics of how the brain handles this, I want to mention that there is a free PDF transcript of this conversation down in the description.
Yeah, having that transcript open is a huge advantage. You can hear the sounds and read the text simultaneously, which builds a much stronger connection in your memory without requiring any extra study time. It's basically double practice.
So let's talk about why the mouth freezes. To understand this, you have to imagine your brain operating with two distinct buckets. There is an input bucket and there is an output bucket. And the crazy thing is, they do not automatically share information.
Right. And traditional schooling really only fills the input bucket. The teacher says, sit quietly, read this chapter, listen to me. You get incredibly strong at understanding.
But the output bucket stays completely empty. Then you go to a coffee shop, you need to order a drink, your brain reaches into the output bucket to find the words, and there is absolutely nothing there to grab.
It's so frustrating because the words are not missing. They're just sitting safely in the wrong bucket. When you try to speak, your brain is trying to drive on a highway. It is never actually paved.
That's exactly it.
To put it simply, it's like your ears go to the gym every single day and get extremely muscular, but your mouth just sits on the couch eating potato chips.
I love that visual. The asymmetry is the real issue here. Your ears are Olympic athletes, but your mouth is a complete beginner. So the question becomes, how do we start moving words from the listening bucket over to the speaking bucket?
That leads us right to the first active fix. Technique 2 is called the PCA routine, and PCA stands for passive to conscious to active.
That sounds like a workout plan for the mouth. Walk me through how we actually do this routine.
Okay, so step 1 is identifying a word that is passive. Now, a passive vocabulary word is one that you completely understand when you hear someone else say it, but you never actually use it yourself when you speak. It just kind of sleeps in the background of your mind.
If we are being honest, for an intermediate learner, that describes about 80% of the dictionary.
Yeah, pretty much. Which is exactly why we need step 2, which is conscious. This is where you pull that sleeping word into the light. You notice it on purpose. You write it down in a notebook, you look up the exact definition just to be safe, and you write 3 original sentences using it.
So you are forcing your brain to become fully aware of its existence. You are taking it off autopilot.
Exactly.
And what is the final step to seal it in?
Step 3 is active. You push that word into your active vocabulary, and active just means the words you can easily and naturally produce without thinking. The strict rule here is you must force yourself to use that specific word in a real conversation within 24 hours.
Wait, why 24 hours? Why do we need the time limit?
Because urgency builds the neural highway. If you just write it down, it stays safely in the input bucket. Using it out loud with another human being forces the brain to build the bridge to the output bucket. Most learners have like 3 to 5 times more passive words than active words. This routine is how you fix that ratio.
Hang on, I have to question those numbers. 3 to 5 times. So a learner might easily recognize 5,000 English words, but they are only actively speaking with 1,000 of them.
It sounds shocking, but the brain is incredibly efficient. It's basically a hoarder. It will understand 5,000 words, but when it is time to speak, it takes the path of least resistance and only uses the 500 or 1,000 words it knows best. The PCA routine forces the brain to dig deeper into the inventory.
Let us test this out. I want you to run a random word through the PCA routine right now, live on the show.
Okay, let us use the word obvious. So I hear it in movies constantly. I know what it means. That is the passive step.
Right.
Now I am visualizing it, maybe writing it down in my mind. That makes it conscious. And here is my sentence to make it active. It is obvious that I have been avoiding speaking this whole time.
Wow. Okay, you just activated a word. You took it from the background and put it into the real world.
Yeah, I honestly feel a little bit smarter already. It is empowering to realize the vocabulary is actually already in there.
Hold on to that feeling, because activating single words is just the warm-up. We're going to take it up a level.
Okay, single words are great, but in real life, we don't really speak in isolated words. We speak in full, connected rhythms. So what is technique number 3?
Technique 3 is the fastest way to build that connected rhythm. It is called shadowing. Think about what a shadow is. It is the dark shape that follows you on the ground, copying every single move you make.
So in this context, shadowing means listening to someone speak and immediately copying them out loud like a vocal shadow.
Yes, exactly. You do not wait for them to finish. You listen, and a split second later, you repeat the exact same words, the exact same speed, and the exact same intonation.
Quick pause for the listeners. Intonation just means the natural melody of the language, right? Like the way a voice rises on a question or falls at the end of a sentence.
Perfectly said, yes.
But wait, if I'm just repeating like a parrot, am I really learning anything? How does this actually help me generate my own thoughts later?
Because it is physical therapy for your face. When you shadow, you bypass the translation trap. And bypassing simply means you completely skip over the obstacle instead of fighting through it. You are not thinking about grammar rules. You are simply training your tongue, jaw, and vocal cords to memorize the physical shape of English sentences.
That is fascinating. So the muscles learn the language before the logic center gets a chance to interfere.
Exactly. Let us actually try one together. I'm going to say a sentence, and I want you to shadow it as closely as you can. Ready?
Ready.
I have been learning English for years, but I still struggle to speak.
I have been learning English for years, but I still struggle to speak.
That was a solid first attempt, but I could hear you hesitate right at the beginning. What was happening in your head?
My brain was fighting me. It kept trying to edit the grammar. You said, I have been learning, and my brain immediately tried to translate and simplify it to, I am learning. It was like my internal editor was trying to fix a sentence that was not broken.
That internal editor is exactly what freezes your mouth in a real conversation. Shadowing forces that editor to shut down. You train your brain to stop analyzing and start producing.
So I can just repeat after people on a podcast, and that counts as practice.
Yes. Over time, that sentence structure feels so natural in your mouth that you can just drop your own words into it without thinking.
Man, if I had been doing this for 5 minutes a day while listening to audio, my jaw muscles would be so much stronger by now. I'd probably be fluent.
Right. But wait until you try the final step. It's entirely about muscle memory. The more you do it, the less you have to think.
So we have activated single words with the PCA routine, and we have built physical rhythm by shadowing other people. But eventually, I have to form my own original thoughts without copying anyone. What is the final step?
Technique 4 is where you gain true independence. It is called narrate your day. To narrate simply means to describe the events that are happening around you out loud in real time, like a sports announcer calling a game.
Describe everything. That sounds like I would be talking to myself constantly.
Just start small, like 2 minutes. Walk me through a demonstration. Tell me what you were doing right now in this exact moment without overthinking it.
Okay. I'm sitting in a chair. I'm holding a microphone. I am looking at a wall.
Look at how easily that flowed out of you. Why was that sentence so much easier to produce than trying to debate a complex topic?
Well, because I wasn't searching for deep vocabulary or complicated grammar. I was just describing the physical reality right in front of my face. There was nothing to invent, so my brain didn't get tangled up in options.
That is the secret of narrating. When you describe the coffee cup, the open window, or the cat walking across the floor, the words flow naturally because you are stating simple facts. More importantly, it removes all the pressure.
Let me quickly define pressure for everyone. When we talk about pressure, we mean that heavy, stressful feeling that someone is judging your performance and waiting for you to fail.
Exactly.
And because I am alone in my kitchen talking to my coffee maker, the audience is zero. Therefore, the pressure is zero. The stress response in my brain completely turns off.
It allows the output pathway to operate in a safe environment. You do it for 2 minutes while brushing your teeth, then you do it for 5 minutes while making breakfast. You are building the habit of turning thoughts directly into speech without passing through the translation filter first.
I might sound a little bit crazy talking to my furniture every morning, building the output pathway one narrated coffee at a time.
A little bit of crazy is the price of admission for real progress.
Try our recap. Okay, so here's what I'm taking away. Technique 1, the 2 buckets. I've been completely overfilling my input bucket with listening and starving my output bucket of speaking. Then we have a PCA routine for single words, shadowing for rhythm, and narrating to turn off the editor.
You have the entire system down perfectly.
You know, just understanding the gap stops you from constantly blaming yourself.
It really does shift the blame from your intelligence to your strategy.
Try Vocab Unwind. Let's slow things down and move to our Vocab Unwind. 5 words, phrases, and I'd.
Actually, wait, let me jump in for a second before we do the vocab.
Oh, sure. Are we pausing the unwind?
Yeah, because we need to talk about the mindset first before we lose people in the definitions. Learning a language isn't just mechanical, it's emotional.
I agree completely. The frustration can absolutely weigh you down.
Try emotional message plus actionable step. That's a good note to end on. But what about the bigger picture?
The bigger picture.
The bigger picture is this. If you are listening to us right now and you understand everything we're saying, but you feel terrible because you cannot speak this smoothly yet, I need you to know that you are not behind. You are actually incredibly far ahead.
Hang on. How is that possible that I'm actually ahead? Having a frozen mouth feels exactly like failing.
Because comprehension, the ability to process a foreign language at native speed, is the genuinely difficult part. It takes years to build the listening bucket. You have already done 90% of the heavy lifting. The remaining 10%, the speaking, is not about intelligence. It is just a mechanical habit that needs practice. The gap is not a weakness, it is proof of your massive progress.
Wow, that completely flips the perspective. What is one concrete thing the listeners can do right now to prove to themselves that they are capable?
Tonight, before you go to bed, open the Nights app on your phone. Type 3 simple sentences about what you did today. Do not use a dictionary. Do not check your grammar. Do not write them for anyone else to read. Just prove to your brain that it has the power to produce English on its own.
3 sentences. No editing. I can definitely do that tonight.
Awesome. Now, I want to see you put this entire system together. Imagine it is tomorrow morning. Walk me through your routine using the techniques we just covered.
All right. Tomorrow morning, I wake up. I stretch. I walk into the kitchen. Right now, I am narrating the physical reality.
The pressure is low. Keep going.
I make my coffee. I check my phone and read an article. I see a word I know but never use. I pause. I am highly conscious of it. I run it through the PCA routine, and I speak 3 sentences out loud to myself while the coffee brews.
You are activating the vocabulary. How does it feel?
It feels productive, but I have to be honest, it also feels a bit forced. And when I say forced, I mean it feels artificial and slightly awkward, like I am an actor playing a role. It doesn't feel natural yet.
Feeling forced is entirely normal. Every single new skill feels awkward in the beginning. The first time you rode a bike, it felt forced. The key is to survive the awkward phase. But to help with that, let us cover 3 common mistakes learners make when they try these techniques.
What is the biggest trap they fall into?
Mistake number 1 is demanding perfect grammar from the very first spoken word. When you try to monitor your grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation simultaneously, your brain overloads. And overload simply means it receives too much information at once and just shuts down, like a computer crashing.
So perfectionism is the enemy of production. Just let the grammar be messy. What is the second mistake?
Mistake 2 is waiting until you feel ready to speak. Motivation is a myth. You will never feel fully ready. The confidence does not come before the action. The confidence is created by doing the action.
You build the courage by taking the step. And the third mistake?
Only practicing with native speakers. That sets the stakes way too high. It triggers massive anxiety. Practice by yourself first. Shadow alone in your car. Narrate alone in your kitchen. Build the physical output muscle safely before you step onto the public stage.
To quickly bring all of this together, the problem isn't your brain, it is an empty output bucket.
You fix it by pulling passive words into active use, shadowing audio to build mouth muscle memory, and narrating your daily life to turn off the internal perfectionist.
Practice alone. Make a mess of the grammar and stop waiting for the magical day when you feel ready.
You use what you already have rather than constantly trying to consume more.
All right, I think we're ready now.
Okay. Let us slow things down and move to our Vocab Unwind. 5 to 6 words, phrases, and idioms from today. Let us start with the core concept that drives everything. Input. The meaning of input is the information you take in from the world. A good analogy is thinking of input as buying groceries and putting them in the fridge.
And an example would be listening to English audio tracks on your commute.
Exactly. And the necessary pair to that is output. The meaning of output is the tangible language you produce yourself. If input is buying the groceries, output is actually cooking the meal and serving it.
An example of output is writing an email or speaking to a colleague in English.
Next, we discussed passive vocabulary. The meaning of passive vocabulary relates to the words you recognize but do not use. An analogy for this is recognizing a familiar face in a crowded room, but having absolutely no idea what their name is or how to talk to them.
Right. For example, you hear the word utilize in a meeting and understand it means use, but you never say it yourself.
Which brings us to active vocabulary. This means the words you can easily recall and speak without hesitation. An analogy would be your best friend's phone number. You don't have to search for it, you just dial it.
An example is automatically saying hello or thank you without translating it in your head first.
Our next term is shadowing. The meaning of shadowing is the practice of repeating speech immediately after hearing it. Imagine stepping exactly into the footprints of the person walking slightly ahead of you in the snow.
An example would be pausing this audio every 10 seconds to mimic the exact way Emma pronounces a sentence.
Finally, we have narrate. The meaning of narrate is to describe events out loud as they happen in real time. A useful analogy is a documentary voiceover describing the actions of an animal in the wild.
And an example would be walking through your house saying, "I am opening the door. I am turning off the light."
If you want to review all of those words, the free PDF transcript with the full vocabulary list is down in the description box below.
We put a lot of work into these, so please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with a friend who understands English but struggles to speak. Send it to just one person who needs to hear that their brain is not broken.
And we want to hear from you down in the comments. Which technique are you going to try first tomorrow morning? Are you going to try shadowing, narrating, or the PCA routine? Drop a comment below.
I read every single one of those comments, so let me know what you choose. Next week, we're talking about something completely different, talking to strangers in English.
We're going to break down how to start a conversation with anyone in any situation without the overwhelming fear.
That is the one scenario that terrifies everyone, so I am genuinely looking forward to diving into it. We'll see you next time.
See you then.
Keep your English cozy.
Take care of your family. Bye.